Thompson is 10 times the world champion. Fax and Stupidus, they've done it again. Unbelievable. Marvin van Lukener certainly deserves the red plate. And what an incredible sport this is. Fast, high and spectacular. Unbelievable.
Welcome back to Loket in the Czech Republic for race day. Race day Sunday. We had a terrific day yesterday with qualifying, but now it's time for the riders' team presentation where the fans will get to meet. It's early in the day and a lot of fans are coming into the circuit now. Some will have camped overnight, taking advantage of the VIP camping passes, and there was a massive party last night which an awful lot of people attended. And we've got them gathered here now to go along and meet the riders, sign autographs, have a little conversation. Riders very accommodating. This is a serious part of their day. The weather, fortunately, after yesterday, there was a strong wind yesterday, very cold. It was the wind that came after the storm the night before, and it really was very cold at the end of play yesterday. But that's gone away, the clouds have gone, the sun is out with a vengeance, people are in their t-shirts, as you can see. The atmosphere at Loket, quite close to the German border actually, about a 2-hour drive from Prague, the capital here in the Czech Republic. The local dignitaries announcing the teams. Looking in the background there, Ben van den Bogart, of course, now riding with Gert van Verven. A good gathering here in the paddock area, and one by one the riders being brought forward. We have a good array of quad riders as well here, quads and sidecars. The local Czech riders will receive a huge amount of acclaim. You can see the national flag being waved proudly there. And they're quite humble, some of these guys, you know, they're not accustomed to being thrust into the spotlight in terms of promotion. They're very unassuming. They tend to just get on with the job. And most of them get on with that job very, very effectively indeed. Everyone receiving their complimentary can of sponsors pop. Nice thumbs up and a nice smile for the camera. As I said, it's early in the day, and I really am pleased and impressed with the number of people that have turned up here for the riders' presentation. You know, it is only just after 9:30 in the morning, and we're on an outlying piece of forestry on the top of a hill, about 9 miles outside the town of Loket, which means elbow, and is named after the bend, the elbow-shaped bend in the river that runs through the city. Loket with quite a rich cultural history going back over many centuries, and was used basically to portray one of the cities from the former Croatia, in fact the country of Montenegro, in the remake, the 2006 remake of the James Bond film, Casino Royale. This track first built, in fact the Auto Club of Loket founded 50 years ago. The track first built 48 years ago by a local farmer who was also an ex-motocross racer, and he is still at the helm today. He and his son very much in control of what happens here. It's a regular venue for MXGP. That is why the crowds are so accustomed to coming here to Loket. Our promotional ladies doing a great job and giving the guys something to smile about. And why wouldn't they? After 2 years of global pandemic and depression around Europe, and there's still some awful things going on in the world, but it is so good to be back to something, if not totally normal, certainly approaching normality. You would not know that there'd been anything going on over the last 2 years. Now we're here in the Czech Republic. Everyone is so upbeat, so friendly. You walk around the city, you see lots of smiling faces. Here in the paddock, their smiles are even broader. And I'm certainly glad to see that. Motocross, in all its forms, a true family sport. And I've got personal experience of that with my little ones, no longer little ones, but fully fledged family members themselves these days with their own families and their own business affairs. But they grew up in the paddock just as many of these teams bring their children along, and from a very early age, the children become accustomed to the sound of engines, the sights, the smells of a motocross track, and the informal atmosphere that goes with it. You can tell that some of these guys are not exactly in their comfort zone. Reen Willems there, the press officer for the WSC team, down in the crowd, very much part of this. There will, of course, after this be photograph opportunities, but when we get the Sidecar teams out, that is when we expect to get the most adoration, the richest applause, and the eagerly sought after autographs. I apologize for not there. You can see Granly. So Granly, a local Czech, and Honda. I was about to say I apologize for not name checking these quad riders, because outside of their track racing gear, off their bikes, without their helmets and leathers, I simply, without looking at their back, I'm not familiar with them on a personal basis. The quads will join us 4 times this year. This the second outing of the EMX European Quad Cross Championship. Those girls will have aching jaws, smiling for the camera so many times, and they're not even halfway through this presentation yet. But it's a good way to promote the riders, a good way to promote the sport, and to involve the spectators, which is what it's all about, really. There, the Dutchman. Yeah, he's something of a revelation. That was Rick Haverdale just leaving now. We had a quad race yesterday, and that was a battle royal there. The young German who finished 3rd yesterday. And Capuccio. Here he is, 4 times European champion from Estonia, Kevin Saar. Had to settle for second best in yesterday's race. But what a reputation and what a career he's had so far, and still a young man. He knows he's got a battle on his hands because Christopher Taveren, the Norwegian, was certainly on a mission yesterday, taking victory and doing an absolutely great job to set Kevin Saar back on his haunches just a little bit. And those two, though, carried the fight to each other, and it was one of the most thrilling quad races that I've seen in this EMX European Championship. And we have another one today, of course. Two more in actual fact. The opening race on the program will be the second race for the quads, and then they have a third race later on in the afternoon between the two Sidecar GPs. So it's going to be non-stop action for the quads today, non-stop action for the commentary team today. And they're the WSC organising team on the left, Martin Benya. Then from the FIM next to him we have Dave Edwards. Alain, the technical man, is there. Kenny Gardner's in the picture. These are the organising committee and all the officials who make the event possible, sanctioned and licensed, of course, by the FIM, who do the track approval, everyone getting their individual introduction. There he is, WSC promoter and organiser. 5 years he's been campaigning and fighting this battle, because that's what it's been, and he could not have chosen a more difficult time to get into it. There's Alain. Dave Edwards, a lot of these guys, of course, give up an awful lot of valuable time trekking over Europe and not just supervising FIM events. A lot of them do work for their own federations in their own countries. It's a very, very busy task. And that of Martin Benya is possibly the most difficult. Local Czech Federation member, addressing the crowd in their native tongue. Rick Haverdil there alongside Kevin Saar. Kevin Saar, certainly no shortage of people wanting his precious autograph. 4 times, was hoping that this year will be title number 5 for him, and there's absolutely no reason why it should not be. And there, the young Cappuccio, Miro Romeo Cappuccio, Italian heritage, of course, but German resident. A young man with a bright future. Very, very good display yesterday, but freely admitted when interviewed that the 2 riders ahead of him were, to quote his own words, on a different level. And I think we saw that.
Náhradník se kvalifikoval včera ve včerejší kvalifikaci
Daniel Willemsen shirt being proudly displayed down there, except it's now being covered by a new purchase going over the top. Daniel Willemsen, 10 times a world champion in sidecars, one of only 2 drivers here this weekend to have ridden this track before. And by definition, they are both in the twilight of their careers in terms of years. Mike Hodges and Jack Wilkinson sadly were a little bit out of the cut yesterday in terms of qualification. Whether in fact they get to start is going to be a tough call. We're now into the sidecar teams, and we'll be getting further up the order, at which point they will become much more familiar to me. Very fit, athletic sport now. Take it seriously. Hoffman Strauss being announced. Here they come. Good to see these guys representing their country. Switzerland, of course, so many years at the forefront of sidecar motocross. And Motorex, a name that's synonymous, a Swiss oil company. They are proudly wearing the caps. Their sponsorship in sidecar motocross goes back 50 years or more. A very strong crew here from France. The Pruniers. Local Czech boys. I'm sure faces not familiar to me. Taking the opportunity to cuddle one of the presentation ladies, and why not? Loket Cherney, the Java exponent, riding number 6 this weekend, and Bastien Chopin, his French passenger. Loket Cherney here in a massive double-decker Skyliner bus. Very much involved in developing and preserving the name of Java, of course, a Czech motorcycle manufacturer over many, many decades, and with many motocross world championship successes to its name. And Speedway as well. Speedway Engines been very involved in producing those. Dan Foden, Nathan Cooper making their way through and up onto the platform. Just young crew from the UK riding well together. Lots of smiles, and let's hope that they get a good result and get some points to take home to the UK before the next round, of course, which is in Lommel in the deep south of Belgium. Oh, Jake Brown, Paul Horton. Jake Brown had a massive crash in time practice yesterday, and he is nursing what was a dislocated left shoulder. So they are planning to take part in the race. They skipped this morning's warm-up, but they are planning to take part in the race. 30 minutes plus 2 laps with a shoulder that's been put back in and is heavily strapped is going to be difficult. And Petzer there. Can see Kurt Barrick making his way through. Well, you can hear when the air horns go, the Czech boys bring the family up on the stage. How lovely is that? Miroslav Zadlukel. Riders shaking hands with each other, which is nice in the sun here. Spectacular. Stefan Veers. Van der Putten passenger there with Stefan Veers. Davy Sanders. And his French passenger, Luc Rostang. Justin Kuban coming up next, riding number 7 this year with his French passenger, Johnny Badea. Resplendent in red for today. Kuban Badea. Dutch-French combination. Only one of these guys turned up. Kasper Stoupelis and Gert Gordiev, the Estonian. There's Kasper's multiple world champion passenger. Daniel Willemsen and his young French protege, I think, Rodolphe Le Breton, who's achieving something of a lifetime ambition, riding alongside the legend that is Daniel Willemsen. New book out, Cannibal. Now here's the Prunier teams. Kilian Stefan Prunier. They look like twin brothers. I don't know for sure, but brothers they are. Very fast as well. From Great Britain, the one and only Stuart Brown, multiple times British champion. 3rd and 4th in the world on more than one occasion. Just that elusive top spot has escaped him. Gert van Werven, Ben van den Bogart started the season really, really well in national competition and indeed in the World Championship. Had a big crash in Markelo, but they are used to it and they are going well here. Koen Hermans, Nicolas Mousset, another Dutch-French combination. Koen Hermans has grown in stature, has grown in confidence. Nicolas Mousset, of course, reunited this pair, having finished runners-up in the world together on a previous occasion. Marvin van Lukener, 2018 champion, with Robbie Bax. Here they are. Robbie Bax, Marvin van Lukener, part of the academy that came out of the Netherlands. Although van Lukener is a Belgian, he grew up in the Kids and Sidecars program, which nurtures child talent from such an early age. Now, Julian Velman and Glenn Janssens. Glenn Janssens, very much shorter than Velman, but then everybody in the paddock is shorter than Julian Velman. Here we have Brett Wilkinson and Joe Millard. Brett Wilkinson, after the first round in Holland, lying third in the World Championship. Had a bit of a mixed bag yesterday, but it's all about the races. Joe Millard, son of an ex-rival of mine, the Millard brothers back in the day, when they first started as young men, and I was doing my thing. Kurt Varrick and Larry Kunas, Estonian-Finnish partnership, ride together very well. Kurt Varrick has developed his technique and he's improved immensely. And in my book, he's one of the hard men of Sidecar motocross. Indeed, as is Brett Wilkinson. The number of injuries he's suffered in recent years defy belief. Reigning champion Etienne Bax, local favourite André Čermák, from the two famous Czech Čermák brothers, of course, who rode so strongly together 5-6 seasons ago. Leading the championship, Etienne Bax comes here on top of the pile. Well, that concludes the team presentations, and the crowd absolutely loved that, which is good. Helps that the sun's out. Opportunities now for autographs. There we go. Van Lukener Bax down there. So the WSC organization appears to have provided ample paperwork and opportunities for these guys. There's Cherny Chopin there, lining up against alongside Wilkinson, Millard, Varrick and Kunas, names proudly emblazoned on their backs. Well, that's the presentation over and done with, and we'll bring that to a close, and we'll be back with the first of the quad races today, which is race 2 for the quads at 11:30 local time. So from me, Barry Nutley, have a cup of tea. I'll be back with you soon. Bye-bye.
Williamson is 10 times the world champion. Bax and Stupilis, they've done it again. Unbelievable. Marvin van Lukener certainly deserves the red plate. And what an incredible sport this is. Fast, high and spectacular. Unbelievable.